Did you know you can save 30% on a new solar system that you install on your home or business this year, or even if you're upgrading an existing one? Now, I know there's a lot of confusing information out there, and not everybody gets the right information if you're talking to a solar salesperson. But what I want to do is clear up what can be a little confusing about the solar tax credit. I'm going to talk about exactly what qualifies, what doesn't qualify, how it works, and if it's going to be the best situation for you. I'm Mike with DIY Solar Workshop, and today is a cold, snowy January day, and is a good day to be in the workshop catching up with some paperwork. We just started our taxes this week, and I thought this is the perfect time for us to go over what the solar tax credit is, because I know a lot of you are thinking about taxes as well this time of year. We all know the benefits of putting up solar and renewable energy, but the initial cost, the investment to put it in, as well as the payback time is one of the biggest reasons why a lot of people won't go ahead and take the plunge and get solar. What we're doing on the channel here is giving you the right information so you can DIY your solar, or at a minimum, plan your solar out and then have somebody that local do the install for you. That's going to save you a lot of money versus working with a normal company to put your solar in. The other way to save huge on your solar is to go through the solar tax credit. That's going to be 30% off your system, and between doing a DIY and that 30%, that really does make it where your solar is going to pay back a lot quicker for you, and it's a lot easier when you're trying to figure out how to come up with the funds to actually put your solar in place. The ITC, or the investment tax credit, is an incentive from the federal government to basically encourage you to put in renewable energy systems. The ITC was originally set to phase out in 23, but the Inflation Reduction Act in 22 revived it and upped the benefit. So from now until 2032, you're going to get 30% on any of the qualified systems. In 33, that's going to go down to 26%. In 34, that's going to go down to 22%. And then afterwards, unless they do something with it in 35, it's going to go ahead and phase out unless they renew it. So now, homeowners, businesses, and certain nonprofits can take advantage of this. The one thing that the Inflation Reduction Act did is added some more things that you can take advantage of. So standalone battery storage is going to be added on there. We'll talk about that in a little bit. And then if you look over here, there's a whole list of other things that are going to be green style energies that are going to have limits on how much you can get for them each year. But if you're going to be doing any of those, make sure you check these out, because it's going to be a savings for you on your taxes. Next, let's talk about what's going to be included in the solar tax credit you can get credit for. So obviously we're looking at the solar panel. So pretty much any solar panel is going to be included in that, as well as any optimizers, any inverters, anything you need like that, charge controllers, those are all there. We're also going to have batteries, and that's going to be for your solar system. We do have standalone battery systems now. So for those of you that aren't putting up solar panels, if you're getting batteries that have at least 3 kilowatt hour storage, you can actually use those as well. Any of the labor cost, installation cost, design cost, all of those are going to be included in there. Anything that goes in, again, with the install, so your wiring, your mounting systems, all of that, as well as any taxes that go along with that. So pretty much as long as you're getting a qualified system, everything that goes with your solar is going to be available for that tax credit for you. All right, let's get to the part that everybody gets confused on. The ITC offers a tax credit, not a tax deduction or a rebate. So I want to talk to you about the three: the tax credit, deduction, and rebate. So most people are used to having a tax deduction. And so I'm just going to run a scenario. Let's say that you make $50,000 and you're in a 20% tax bracket. I'm going to keep the numbers real simple. So you would owe $10,000 in taxes at the end of the year. If you got a $10,000 deduction, what that would do is that would lower your tax liability from $50,000 that you made to $40,000. And so when you take that times the 20%, that would drop you down to owing $8,000 in taxes instead of $10,000. So that $10,000 tax deduction is going to save you $2,000 in the overall when it's said and done. Now, if we move over to a tax credit, what's going to happen there is same scenario. Let's say you make $50,000, but this time you get a tax credit of $10,000. Now, if you were in that 20% tax bracket, you're basically going to owe $10,000 in taxes for that $50,000. So that means with your $10,000 tax credit, that's going to completely offset what you owe in taxes. So you would owe nothing in taxes on there. Now, let's say that you didn't make $50,000, or you were able to write off some more things, and you end up with a lower amount. And say you only owed $8,000 for your tax liability that year. year, then what you would end up doing is that $8,000 for your solar credit is going to wipe that out, and then you're going to have an additional $2,000 that would carry forward to the next year that you would have any tax liability on that. Now, a lot of people get confused on this part because they think, well, on April 15th, when I have to write a check, if that's what I owe in taxes, then that's what I'm going to be able to use for my tax credit. That is not correct. What we're looking at is anything that you have a tax liability, whether you've already paid in on the liability or not, that's going to be available to use for your tax credit. So let's just say that you did make that $50,000 and you were a W-2 employee. So you work for someone and every month they did withholding and they took money out of your check to go ahead and cover those expected taxes. All that money that you put in, as long as that's going towards your total tax liability at the end of the year, then any of that is able to be covered by your tax credit, you're essentially going to get a refund for that back. Now, I am not a tax accountant or a tax professional, so I highly recommend you absolutely talk to your tax accountants on this or your CPA, but this is a much easier way to look at it. And I don't want people thinking, hey, I'm automatically going to get money back if for whatever reason you don't have enough of a tax liability to get this. All right, in the last case, I'm going to talk about a tax rebate. So the big difference between the first two, the deduction and the credit versus the rebate, is with the rebate, you don't need any sort of tax liability to be able to get it. That's going to be money straight back to you. So let's just say that your state is offering a $10,000 rebate if you put in a solar system that's worth, say, $50,000 or more. So if you put in that $50,000 solar system, then you're going to get the check whether you have a tax liability or not. And most of the time, that's also going to be done shortly after it's installed. You're not going to have to wait to file your taxes at the end. And while we're talking about the tax credit, make sure you understand that ITC is only for your federal. That doesn't do anything for the states. There are a lot of states that are going to have some additional incentives. So I highly recommend you check out your state and see if there's anything that you can get for that. Your state may have additional tax credits, rebates, or some sort of net metering agreement that you're going to be a part of. All right, this all sounds great, but what are the catches? What does it take to actually be a requirement to get this? So the first thing is it has to be on a home that you own. It doesn't have to be your primary home, but if you don't use it on your primary home, you're not going to get the full amount. You're only going to get a proportion on how much you are, say, your vacation or your second home. The second thing, it has to be new. So don't go out and buy a great deal on used solar panels and then expect to be able to get this credit, because it's only going to be for the new first-time systems on that. And the last one is the solar system the install has to be completed in the year that you're claiming the credits. So you need to make sure by December 31st, that system is up and running and working for you to take the credit when you do your taxes, come in that next couple months and you file by the 15th of April. That's going to be for that following year. Make sure that solar system is fully operational. It's understandable when we're talking such large numbers that people are going to have a lot of questions on this solar tax credit, and anything with the government is always going to be a little bit confusing. So the first question we have is there an upper limit on how much you can do? On the solar tax credit, no. On some of the stuff that we put up on the screen earlier, absolutely. Those items are going to be limited. But with the solar, I don't care whether you get a $10,000 system or a $100,000 system or even beyond. There is no limit on how much you can take in the tax credit. What will be your limiting factor is how much tax liability you have. So the next question that comes up quite a bit is, how do I get my credit? What you need to do is fill out the IRS form 5695. You're going to file that with your taxes. What I'm going to highly suggest is throughout your whole solar process, before you get to fill out that form, make sure you save all of your invoices, receipts, everything. If you're working with a solar company or an installer, then that's going to be easy. They're probably just going to give you one big bill or a couple bills and you're good to go. If you're doing the DIY system, you need to track everything that was eligible and you need to keep those all together. That way you make sure you don't overlook anything at the end, and you have all of that available if they ever need to see it. I also highly recommend you talk to your tax professional and make sure that everything you're doing is correct for your specific situation. Another one that comes up occasionally is, I'm a renter. Can I get anything for the tax credit because I want to get solar and I want to help the environment, but I don't own a home? And sorry, there's very few cases as a renter you're going to be able to get the tax credit on there, because it is going to be a permanent install on a home that you don't own. And while we're talking about renting, another one that comes up is, well, I'm going to lease a solar system. And a lot of people do look at the leasing because it's not going to cost them up front to actually put that in. And once again, if you're leasing the panels, you don't own the panels, so you are not going to get that solar tax credit. That's going to be the company that's using your roof to basically put the panels on. They're going to reap all the rewards from that tax credit. Question that we've had asked is, are design fees included in the solar tax credit? And absolutely, those are part of your installation and getting everything put together. So if you are working with someone to design your system, that's going to be included at the 30% as well. And a big question that comes up, because a lot of you aren't going to put in your final system all at once, is can I add on to my system? Because again, we know that it's not inexpensive to add the solar. So you might want to do part of a system this year, and next year or the following year add to it. Absolutely. It doesn't matter whether you want to put a whole different system in future years, or you want to upgrade your current system. So what you're going to do is treat that like a new project with the IRS. And so you're going to fill out that IRS form, the 5695 again, whether you're upgrading a current system or you're adding a whole new install on your property. Just treat it like a new one and fill that out for the tax year that you finish the install on that system. Is this going to be the year that you add clean energy to your home, lower your energy bills overall, and then also improve your home's value? If it is, definitely take advantage of this solar tax credit. We have that for the next 9 years, unless something happens with the current administration where they decide to change that. And whether you plan to DIY your system, or even if you're going to hire someone, whether it's a full solar company or you're just looking for someone to do the install, make sure you keep watching our videos, because the more that you understand about solar as we go through all the systems, that's going to be better for you to come up with the right system that makes sense. If you just go with the suggestion that someone that you talk to at the solar company recommends for your home, you're probably not going to get the best system for you. And that's why the more that you can learn, I promise you it'll be worth your time to get the right system. And then if you are doing the whole DIY yourself, you're going to save a lot of money by doing that. And even if you're not going to do the DIY install, by knowing everything that's going on, there's a good chance you can cut a lot of cost out of that you would normally see with a full service solar company on there. If you're looking for any solar design work, I'm going to have a link below. Feel free to fill out the information. I'd be happy to get with you and see if we can help you with your design. And then while you're looking for any of your solar systems, whether it's going to be solar panels, inverters, batteries, whatever you're looking for, Signature Solar is a great place to get that. We got all of our solar from Signature Solar, and I have a link down below that not only can you get some of the best prices around with Signature Solar, but we're going to save you some money by using our link. Thanks for hanging out with me today, and we'll catch you on the next solar video.